Welcome. Nice of you to drop by. Could you maybe introduce yourself and tell me why you're here?
So I'm Dan Gartenberg. I'm a PhD student. I'm actually here trying to promote this idea of creating a Quantified Self journal where everyone who does Quantified Self projects can submit their ideas in a format that's akin to how Quantified Self presentations are given. So basically what you did, how you did it, and what you learned. I'm also here to discuss some of the data projects that I've been doing on myself for quite a while now.
Yeah, because you use Quantified Self yourself?
Yep, I've been affiliated with Quantified Self for about 3 years.
Yeah.
I started out with an interest in sleep. I have this application that I've created that tracks my sleep called Proactive Sleep. I've used that for a while, and I've
What did it learn you?
So the thing about sleep is, once you know what you need, it's kind of done at a certain point. So I figured out that I need 7.5 hours of sleep in order to not be fatigued in the morning. I learned that, the earlier I go to bed, the more sleep I get, which is kind of an intuitive thing. And that I'm actually more productive when I wake up earlier, because the application tracks a lot of things. So I felt like I figured out my sleep. I improved my sleep. I did things like, not being active close to bedtime to help myself fall asleep better.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of shifted over to mood recently. And mood is a bit more complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because mood can't be logged automatically.
No.
You have to log it yourself.
You have to log it yourself, and it's dependent on many variables. You don't know what's causing the mood, or if it's a cause or an effect. It's very difficult to figure out what is actually happening. You have to figure out things happen in different time frames. So, like, for example, so I came in trying to track my mood. Every day I would...
Why did you want to do it? Yeah.
I wanted to be happier.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm a pretty happy person, I think. I'm a pretty stable person. But my mood is always just like, okay. I'm never like really happy. I'm always just kind of stable. So I wanted to try to be happier. Who doesn't want to be happier?
No.
So I started tracking my mood and trying to figure out what made me happy. And I came in thinking that my productivity would be something that would make me happy. So
if you would be more
productive, more happy I would be. I tracked my mood every day by entering it on the 0 to 100 scale, and I tracked my productivity every day, and I also tracked my sleep, my alcohol consumption, other things. The interesting thing I found was there was no relationship between productivity and my mood, but there was a relationship between alcohol and my productivity, as you might imagine. The more I drank, the less productive I was.
Yeah.
This is something that might seem
quite
obvious, logical, and I found it. But that made me start thinking that a third variable might be influencing my mood, which is socializing. Mm-hmm. So when I drink, I'm more social. And so maybe socializing and productivity are what are affecting my mood. So I did another tracking experiment where I actually manipulated my positive social interactions by taking little trips, little 2-day vacations every 2 weeks to visit my family and friends in New York City. And so I did that, and I would notice spikes in my mood whenever I did that.
You were happier.
I was happier. And so you could explain that in a few ways. One way is to say that, and so once I did that, then productivity was related to my mood. So once I was satisfied socially, then productivity started to have an effect. And so this is why mood is so complicated.
Yeah.
Because there's Maslow's pyramid of needs, basically.
Yeah, and I can also imagine that maybe if you would start tracking it, you would learn that, going to bed late, drinking a lot, hanging out in bars would make you really happy.
Right.
So
You should just drink all the time.
Well, that could be an outcome, couldn't it?
So it's a balancing act,
Yeah.
So it's you have to moderate all of these factors. There's a time for drinking and socializing, and there's a time for being productive. At one point, I was meeting both of those things. I was being very productive, and I was socializing a lot, and I wasn't sleeping. And so then that variable crept in, and that started affecting my mood too. So it's really just like a very complicated balancing act of all of these different things.
But when I hear this, I think, well, that's life. That's what people do in life. They just do it,
Yeah.
and then they sometimes. Why would you start by trying
So
to
there's this
track
self-awareness thing that comes with that. So if I hadn't decided to track so this has changed my life in a very real way.
Yeah.
If I didn't start tracking my mood when I went to New York City, I wouldn't have been aware of how much happier I was when I was there than when I live in DC, in Washington DC. And that's actually influencing my goal is to move to New York City eventually. I still want to do more testing though. I don't know if it's the fact that simply taking periodic vacations in whatever environment you are allows you to take a step back and see some perspective and variation in yourself that helps your mood, maybe.
Yeah.
That's another hypothesis.
Or maybe seeing people every now and then makes you really happy.
Yeah.
When you see them all the time,
Exactly.
you think, oh my God.
No, exactly. Because when you see people infrequently, they're more excited to see you.
It's a thing to tell and to share. And
So I don't know. It's a complicated thing, but I do think that it's helped inform some of my decision making. And the act of tracking yourself is a great way to self-reflect, almost.
So do you have a bigger goal, or do you just do it as because you find it really interesting?
So I mean, I've done many goals. So I always try to have a goal. I think that's important because otherwise you can find you just track for no reason. It's not useful. So one of my goals was to improve my sleep, and I did that.
Yeah.
One of my goals was to lose 15 pounds, and I did that by tracking my weight. And now my next goal is to improve my mood. It's more difficult than the other ones.
Yeah, that's a really difficult. I can imagine it's really difficult. Maybe when you sport a lot or when you run a lot, it will affect you in a positive way.
So I mean, I run almost every other day.
Yeah. So you do that.
So I already do that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I've never met anyone, or very few people do I meet, and I feel like they have a really happy mood. I don't know. I think it's hard to be one of those people, but I want to try.
Maybe it's just not human.
Maybe it's not me, or maybe it's not human. Yeah.
So on a broader perspective, do you think this tracking is for everyone?
Well, actually, I read a very interesting article that said that 75% of people track something.
Really?
It might not be as formal as what people do here, but I think people are naturally trackers. People are naturally interested in how their habits or behaviors affect them. And it's just a matter of getting these devices to be easier to use, and so that's what a lot of the people here are trying to do.
Yeah. So that's the big trend. The usefulness of these these machines or tracking devices or things like that. Is that a big trend?
So yeah, I mean, trying to make meaning out of the tracking devices is definitely a hurdle. So you can track your steps. So this tracks my steps every day.
Why with your arm when you
walk?
Be right? Yeah.
When you walk is how it does it basically. I think. I'm not totally sure, but there's an accelerometer in here, and it tells me how many steps I make in the day. It's informative, but there's not much action-oriented behavior based off of that. So one thing I notice is when I go dancing, I move a lot. So maybe I should go to more concerts or something. But yeah, to do something useful with the data is definitely a hurdle and an issue that a lot of people here are dealing with, I think.
Yeah. Where are we going, you think, with Quantified Self?
The devices are going to be increasingly more embedded in everything that we do. I think that the Google Glass is going to be a big game changer for everyone involved in this. And it's important for people to stay involved because there's definitely some privacy issues that need to be addressed. But potentially it can really improve preventative health and mental health. So I think that it's going to be the next big thing, but we'll see.
But the privacy issues have crossed this table a couple of times, and they are there, but they're not really. What do you think? If you think about privacy issues?
I mean, you just have to make sure that people are aware or have full control over their data. I mean, you don't want, say, an insurance company to deny people something because they don't exercise enough. Or, they're trying to do that right now. So we'll see. You just have to stay vigilant about it, I suppose. But I think these are problems that can be solved. So, yeah.
Yeah? Can they be solved?
I hope so.
So, you are tracking your mood at the moment. You are in the middle of it. Is there? When do you stop tracking this?
So I did this project a couple months ago, and I stopped, and I decided to live my life for a while. I've been in Europe for the past 3 months, so I'm going to start it. So it's okay to stop tracking sometimes and reflect, and I'm going to start again probably when I get back and try to figure it out.
So you haven't tracked how you feel over here. Maybe you would.
Maybe I should move here.
Much happier.
Maybe I think you might be right, actually. It's very much more relaxed atmosphere out here. I love Amsterdam. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good luck.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you.